What up, YouTube? It is your boy JB here today with a review for Life After Lockup, Season 3, Episode 19, and it's titled M.I.A. Fiancée. Now, you guys, I had no idea that this shit was 2 hours long. Like, I really didn't. But, I watched it after I watched this special on ABC 2020. So, the special was about the Breonna Taylor case. What it managed to do was really piss me off even more than I already was, because you can just see that that case was completely mishandled. I mean, all the way around. So yeah, if you guys want to go check out the ABC app, I'm pretty sure it's probably up there by now. It was on 2020, and like I said, the special, I didn't say the name. Actually, I did say it, but I'm re-recording this. The special was titled "Say Her Name," Breonna Taylor. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what we came here for: the foolishness of Life After Lockup. All right, you guys. So, I guess I'll start up with Sean and Destiny, since they're the first people on my list. Again, like I said, I didn't realize this show was 2 hours long. They really could have condensed it, because it wasn't a whole lot of stuff in this episode, but I guess they gave us our time worth. So with Sean and Destiny, the producers, they show up to Sean's house to film, kind of like what they did with Angela in Life After Lockup in the first half of. That's so interesting. No Angela and Tony in this season so I'm not gonna be able to do the Angela voice, but the producers show up. And, Sean tells the producers that Destiny is gone. She's taking everything with her. I'm like, wait a minute. So she took everything with her. Did she catch a bus? Did she get an Uber? How did she get out of there? I'll tell you guys about that in just a minute. So Sean is going through the house, and, he's looking through all, everything where her stuff was. Ain't shit there. Her toothbrush is gone. But the one thing she did leave behind was that box with the pregnancy test. She left that behind, but she didn't leave the pregnancy test behind. And I'll talk about that pregnancy test in just a minute as well. Sean, this dude is a complete fucking idiot. So you guys remember, I was just saying, how did she leave? Did she leave by Uber, bus, train, whatever? No. Destiny took his car and his credit card. And I'm just like, wait a minute. So she took your shit, but you're not going to report her. Sean is a dumbass. I mean, I know he would lose that $50,000, but damn, the girl stole your shit. And you know how she is when it comes to your money. She just spends frivolously like money grows on trees. Sean is a goddamn dumbass. I mean, he's a dumbass. So, speaking of, and then let's talk about the pregnancy test. So you guys remember, she took the pregnancy test in last week's episode. We didn't see it, but in this week's episode, we found out that the pregnancy test said that she wasn't pregnant. Now, this dumb fool, she's still upset, however, about, Sean and Kelly. And I'm just still thinking to myself, like, you're an idiot if you think this man is not going to have any communication with his, the mother of his 6 children. They are kids. There are certain things that Sean cannot talk about with these kids that he has to talk about with her. Girl, worry about your kids that I hear that you have. She is just dumb as hell. So, she's upset, and she's talking about, the fact that Sean is lying to her. And I'm like, aren't you lying to him as well? Did you ever tell Sean about the woman that you picked up in the furniture store? Did you tell Sean that, when, you still gonna mess with the women? So pot, meat, kettle. You guys are both lying to each other. No lie is better than the other. So, Destiny calls her mom, and, Destiny's telling her mom she doesn't feel good. And she lets it be known in her interview with the producer that she had an atopic pregnancy once before, and she feels like this might be what's happening. I'm just like, as much as Destiny does get on my nerves, I don't wish anything like that on her. So, the producers eventually take her to the emergency room, and that's actually where we ended with Destiny and Sean in this week's episode. So let's move on, you guys. Next up, Michael and Sarah. These two, First of all, before we even get into this, let's discuss Michael, because Michael has been in the news this week, and not for some good news, it's for some bad news. Michael was arrested for child neglect. Now, I don't know whose child it was. I have been seeing, people saying that it's old ass Maria's son. I'm like, y'all mean her grandson, right? Because old ass Maria, okay, old ass Maria has a son. She was probably watching her grandchild. And if I'm not mistaken, from what I've heard, wasn't Michael supposed to be, wasn't they in a hotel room? So and then I know the rumor, the thing is about him supposedly pimping her out. I don't know how true that is. If you guys have the articles, you can send it to me in my DMs on Instagram. But yeah, so we see Michael. So Michael's still in New York, and I'm assuming this is the day after the party. So he's dressing up as this damn bear to go and see, as he calls her, his pretty girl. I don't know what's the significance of calling him. I mean, it is what it is. It don't bother me. So we see Sarah and the girls, and she lets us know that Malcolm is staying with her. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I think that might be a little bit soon, but I guess if you cool with it, Sarah, who am I to judge? So Michael is on his way over there to see the girls. Excuse me, y'all. And so Malcolm is leaving to go and get some cookies, some bagels, and some coffee for him, Sarah, and the girls. Well, the cookies are for the girls, and the coffee and the bagels are for him and Sarah, I guess. I don't know. Don't care. So once Malcolm leaves, then we see Michael show up, and he tried to disguise his voice. The thing that threw me off was Sarah obviously knew he was coming, because the fact that the door was open, he just walked in. I'm like, I don't care who you are. You don't just walk into my house like that. No, it don't work that way. It does not work that way. So, when Michael comes in, little Aviana, I think that's her name, so happy to see him, because she's like, this is daddy. So then, Malcolm returns. And when Malcolm returns, Malcolm tried to be the big person to speak to Michael, but Michael ignored him. I'm like, you are such an ignorant fool. Like, this dude is speaking to you. He ain't got no beef with you. So what is your issue? So, after a while, Michael does start to talk to him. And I'm just like, you could have did that from the jump, you dumbass. So then, they have a little conversation. I don't care about the conversation, to be quite honest with you. So I'm not going to reiterate what happened in the conversation. Just know that they talked. And it was mostly Malcolm. So then once, Michael leaves, Malcolm has a question for Sarah. He wants to know, where does, he and her stand, and where does she and Michael stand? I'm like, Malcolm, if you were smart, you would get out of that situation, because that is toxic and volatile. I wouldn't, I think you're a good dude. You can do better than, you can actually do better than Sarah, because Sarah is still hung up on Michael, because, he's talking about the fact that she shows emotion. That should be a red flag to you right there. The fact that she shows emotion. Now, granted, they are married, but I mean, if you over him as much as you say you are, why does he evoke so much emotion from you? So yeah, get out while you can. But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys, let's move over to Lindsay and Scott. So we see Lindsay. Lindsay is getting dressed up for a photo shoot that she's going to. Lindsay let us know that she's done some modeling in the past. And I was looking at them photos. I'm like, girl, that is not modeling. That is your homegirl outside of your house with your camera just saying, hey, girl, strike a pose. That's what that was. Those were not modeling photos. But okay, if you want to say you're a model, you're a model. Go for it. So, like I said, she's going to this photo shoot. Now, Scott, however, is that his name? Yeah, Scott. Scott, however, is on the fence about this photo shoot. He's wondering if this is something that she can make money out of. She could, but she not, because she's not a model. I mean, I could see it if she was just going to get some headshots done, maybe, but at that point in time, and here's the other question that I have. How far into the pandemic was this? Because, I mean, a lot of shit was shut down. So who the fuck you modeling for? But okay, if you want to be a model, you're a model. Go for it. I ain't judging you. So then they show up to, and I'm just like, okay, this ain't legit to me. Because when they showed up to where she was doing a photo shoot, I'm like, this doesn't even look like an actual, like a studio. It, it just looked janky as hell. I'm like, yeah, Lindsay is playing you. I'm not saying, Scott was thinking porn. I'm like, I don't even think this is porn. I just think this is just, like I said a few minutes ago, a friend that got a camera and taking pictures of you. And they put it on, what is that website called? Backpage. Is that what it's called? I guess. I don't know. I don't know the website, so I can't tell you guys what it is. But I was just looking at that photo, so I'm like, this is janky as fuck. And then when she started taking the pictures, I'm like, yep, this is just for fun. This is, and Scott said it. He felt like it's for a hobby. I'm like, you are 100% correct, Scott. This is a damn hobby. I don't even know if it's a hobby. I don't even know if I would give it that much credit. No, I wouldn't. So then we see Miley Grace. They finally finished her room in the attic. I'm still thinking to myself, why would you put a child in the attic? Of all places in the house, the attic. I mean, hey, if she liked it, I love it. And she actually did love it because they have, her LED lights, so she loved it. Now Miley Grace is going camping. So this gives Scott and Lindsay time to talk. So Lindsay wants to address her concerns about Scott going through her belongings. So Scott apologizes to her. She's like, it just feels like if I take off a jacket, my pants, you're gonna go through my pockets. He says it's not that deep. And then she said, well, you messaged my ex-boyfriend on Facebook, and I do have the the screenshots to show. I'm like, oh. And he was like, he wanted to make sure that Lindsay was a good choice for him. I'm like, Scott, you're 2 years too late, buddy. She's in your house. Like, you've done so much for her, so if she's scamming you, you've already been scammed. Scott is stupid. So then, yeah, let's see. I said that Miley Grace went camping. Yep, they finished the room. Okay, so next, Lindsay discusses Terabelle with Scott. She still has yet to manage. She still has not managed. Tongue-tied. She has not managed to tell Scott that Terabelle is her girlfriend. So she tells Scott that Terabelle has bought a camper, and can she come and park the camper in the yard? They could be like neighbors. I'm like, oh, Lindsay, you think you're slick. You think you're slick. You want her to park that Big Mac truck right in that little garage. Get it? I know it's corny. You guys don't judge me. But Lindsay ain't slick. Like, Lindsay is trying to get that Hello Kitty. And Scott agrees. I'm like, Scott, you have not figured it out. I mean, come on, dude. The writings are on the wall that's her girlfriend. Like, anybody with eyes can kind of see that. Even Stevie can see that. But let's move on, you guys. Oh, God. This is the one couple that I just dread doing. If you guys can see them behind me, you know who it is. It's Andrea and Lamar. The funny thing is, with Andrea and Lamar, it's not Lamar. It's Andrea. It is Andrea to the T for me. I can't with her. Like, especially with watching her Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I mean, I already knew stuff about the Mormon church, but just listening to those women talk about the Mormon church, it just makes me think to myself, like, how foolish is Andrea? This church did not accept us. When I say us, I mean our people, black people. They didn't accept us until sometime in the 70s. Actually, I want to know exactly when black people were accepted into the Mormon church. Excuse me, y'all. And that's not COVID, by the way. When were black? I mean, damn, it say black people allowed to vote, but that ain't what I'm looking for. When were black? allowed in the Mormon Church. Black people in Mormonism okay, so damn. 1978, from the mid 1800s until 1978. Andrea's a dumbass, like literally and figuratively. I can't say anything else about the woman, but she's a fucking dumbass. You go up for this religion that didn't accept you into 78. Make that shit make sense to me. I just don't get how I can't go up for a religion that thought negatively about my skin tone that I didn't choose. I didn't pick to be black. This is not something that I chose to be. If I were given a choice to be black, would I be black? Absolutely. But I didn't choose this. And y'all thought that my skin was cursed, or that fuck the Mormon church, basically. Fuck a Mormon. I don't, and if there's any Mormons that watch this channel, I'm not sorry. I said what I said. Go look in your history books, and you'll see why I said fuck you. Fuck you and your religion. So Priscilla, she's homeschooling her, and she's doing, I guess, this family history thing. And I was looking, when she showed her a photo of her dad, I was like, so. And that's where I was really confused at. If your daddy was, all about, his heritage, how did you get involved with the Mormon church? That must have been something that you did, because I can't imagine your father did that. But okay. So then, Lamar, he's in his studio working on music. I really want him to give up on that music. Bruh, at 40 something years old, I hate to tell anybody to give up on their dream, but Lamar. I don't necessarily think people want to hear it unless you've been working on music, for years, like, Jay-Z. I think the only exception is 2 Chainz. But yeah, if you haven't been working on it, for years at a time, for years and years and years, it's not gonna come across. Because if you rapping about some, and it's definitely gonna depend on what shit you rapping about. If you rapping about shit from the hood, nigga, don't nobody want to hear that. Yeah, no. So we see Lamar. So Lamar is telling Priscilla about, his family history. And, he said, I have something, he had this little black book. It's like, what is that? He said, if I tell you, you can't tell your mama. And so okay, I won't tell my mama. He said, you got a pinky promise. She says, I'm 1,000% positive that I won't tell mama. So then we find out that, he tells her that, she has another sister. She was like, Nyla. She's like, no, you got another sister, my daughter. And this is where I got pissed off even more with Andrea. It's bad enough that you're a Mormon, but then the fact that you don't want this man who had to tell your daughter that she has another sister. Andrea, you are a fucked up individual. You are just fucked up. That is fucked up. He's accepting of your kids. Why can't you accept his? Oh, why did he marry her? Jeez Louise. So, he says that, he'll introduce her to her sister, but he didn't call his daughter, Shantae. I think that's her name. And, she thought that it was just going to be him and her, but he says, no, it'll be Priscilla. So he asked her, will you come? She was like, I may come and I may not come. And honestly, I can't even say that I'm blaming the girl. Because, if she feels alienated and like she's not a priority, then I can't say, I really can't say I blame her at all. At all. But, yeah, let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. Next up, Marcelino and Brittany. So with Marcelino and Brittany, it really, really wasn't a lot with this episode with them. We just saw Brittany celebrating her 30th birthday. Now, the question that I did have is when the fuck did they film this scene? Because that house, I mean, it wasn't a lot of people in the house, but I mean, there was not much room for them to socially distance, and nobody had masks on. That was what bothered me. That was what bothered me. I'm just like, oh my God. So, yeah. So then, the sister that her mama stole the money from called her and asked if she heard from her mom. She said no, she hadn't heard from her mom. And then another one of her sisters came in, and they were talking about the mom as well. And she was saying the fact that her first memory is her mother taking her to a crack house. I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. How do you let that be your child's first memory, you taking them to a fucking crack house? You should know you have a problem if you're taking your baby with you to a crack house. How do you do that? How do you do that? I just don't get it. You took your child to a crack house. And, she made Brittany cry because, she told Brittany that she was, did she say she was her inspiration or something like that? I wasn't paying attention. I know Brittany cried because she doesn't want to be like her mom. And, again, like I said, it was her birthday. So her friend bought her a nice cake, and I was like, oh, that cake looks so good. Marcelino said, yep, the cake looks good, all right. Good enough to smash all over Brittany. I was like, oh my God, he smashed the cake? Nobody got a piece of cake. That reminds me that the reunion of Bad Girls Club season 6 it was, when it was the girl Jade's birthday, and Perez Hilton took it and smashed it on one of the girls. The only reason why I remember this is because I actually had the episode on my phone. I bought that episode. Don't ask me why. But I bought that episode because it was funny. But yeah, he smashed it, and it just reminded me of that when Tanisha got upset. Talking about you don't do that to no cake. Don't disrespect the cake. And it just reminded me of that. Brittany didn't say don't disrespect the cake. She called him a bald son of a bitch. When she said you bald son of a bitch, I was like, oh, that stung. And it sure did, because Marcelino left and he was pissed off. He was even done with production. So I was like, yep, Brittany, but shit, he was wrong. I mean, you smashed the cake in her hair. But that was it for Brittany and Marcelino. Let's move on, you guys. All right, we got 2 more couples to go. Kweilyn and Chevelle. So we see Chevelle, and she's throwing Kweilyn's stuff out of the house. And then she goes and just sits in the driveway, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this supposed to be? Is this a music video that she's shooting? What is her rap persona name? Yellowbone, ain't that what it is? Them terrible ass videos that she did. Oh my God. So I'm still tripping off of Chevelle, the fact that she had these high expectations of, getting a ring and getting married when Kweilyn got out of jail. And I'm just thinking to myself, who the fuck was going to pay for it? He has no job. So you going to pay for your ring and for the wedding? Okay, girl, your priorities are fucked up. Think about your daughter. So then, we find out that she went through his phone, and she, went through his Facebook Messenger and his text messages, and she found some messages. I'm like, Chevelle, have you never heard the old saying? If you go and look for something, you're going to find it. And that's what happened to you. You found something. Might not have been what you wanted to find, but you found something. So then she calls up one of the girls, and at first the girl was playing like she didn't know what she was talking about. So then, now Chevelle was disrespectful as hell, calling the girl a bitch and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, Chevelle, if this girl don't know anything about you, why are you disrespecting her like that? So she asked, Chevelle asked the girl, did you talk to him when he was in prison? She said, maybe, maybe not. Then she asked her another question. She said, maybe, maybe. The girl was getting under her skin. And I'm just like, Chevelle, you look retarded. You look stupid as hell. Like, really stupid. That's how you look. So then she told the girl, get off her damn line. I'm like, Chevelle, you called her. And you telling her to get off your damn line. Okay, Chevelle. Honestly, Chevelle, I can't with you. You look foolish, you look idiotic, and you look dumb. And somebody's dog is barking. I don't know why. Can y'all hear the dog? God, yeah. So while she's talking to the productions, Kweilyn calls, and she asks him about it, and he's denying everything, and I'm just like, dude. I mean, she found a text messages, and she went to your messenger, so it's just better, you just own up to this shit. Now, here's the thing that threw me off with this scene with Chevelle and Kweilyn. Now, you guys remember, I just said a few minutes ago she was at the house. But then when they got into it, they were at an apartment complex. I'm like, wait a minute. When did we switch? What the fuck? Whose apartment are we at and whose house are we at? Like, I couldn't understand heads or tails how we got from a house to an apartment. And then, they got into it. He left. And, he's telling her he didn't cheat on her. And, we see her. So instead of her sitting in the driveway this time, she's sitting in the parking lot. I was like, girl, you look ridiculous. And then the fact that she's sitting here crying, talking about her daughter calls him daddy. I didn't tell my daughter to call him daddy. You might not have told her to call him daddy, but you put your daughter in that position to call this man daddy. Ladies, when it comes to you, if you have kids and you're not with the child's father and you're dating, vet the man out before you introduce your kids to him. Like, I don't get that. He was in prison. Oh, I'm not judging him for being in prison. I'm judging her. And yes, I am judging her because, I just don't understand it. The man was in prison. You had never really spent time alone with him. Let him come home. You get to know him solo. And then if you feel that things are progressing in the right direction, then you introduce your daughter to him. But you don't just introduce your daughter to somebody that's, girl, you stupid. Let's move on. All right, you guys, and then lastly, let's discuss Lacey, Sheen, and John. So I guess we're gonna have this love triangle again with Lacey, Sheen, and John. So you guys remember that we found out that Lacey was pregnant with triplets. You guys remember she went and did in vitro, and she had them put all the eggs in her that she had, the embryos, and there was a single baby, and there were two sets, there were a set of identical twins. I don't know what Lacey was thinking, because she told Shane that, I was just reading, and I found out that the babies, they pee in me. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, oh my God, Lacey, you didn't know that babies peed inside of you? Like, they're eating and drinking whatever you eat or drink. And they have to use the bathroom. So yes, they're using the bathroom in your body. I was just flabbergasted by that. You have 3 kids and you did not know that before now? Okay, Lacey. So we also find out that Lacey and Shane are getting ready to go to get an ultrasound done on the babies. And, we also find out that Shane, right now, he is working, but he's working temp jobs. So, with a temp job, he goes from place to place. The pay can be different. Now, the thing that really threw me off of Lacey was the fact that she said that Shane is 22. And I was like, oh my God, Lacey, did you not know that Shane was 22 when you got married to him and when you guys had, decided to have kids? And that dog is really annoying the fuck out of me, seriously. But yeah, you didn't realize that he was 22 and now you guys are having 3 kids and you don't know how he's gonna, support you guys. Yeah, Lacey, you really should have thought about. I mean, you really should have thought about that, Lacey. Seriously. So then we see Lacey, Shane. I was about to say and John, but no, it's just Lacey and Shane. So they went to go do the ultrasound, and they looked at the one baby, and that baby is healthy, great heartbeat. And they go and look at the twins, and they couldn't. They actually, and then this is gonna be my actual voice. So when they went to look at the twins, with the twins, they actually couldn't. They couldn't find the, I guess the amniotic sac, and the doctor told them that with the twins, there's no heartbeat there. And I was like, oh. Now I really, at that point, I really felt bad and so sad for them. But I was, and I said the same thing that they said. It is sad, but it's a good thing at the same time. You may have lost, the two babies, which that's the sad part, but you do still have another one that's, healthy and a healthy baby. So you will still get to have, a child. It just won't be the three. But that was really sad, you guys. And that is gonna wrap it up for the episode. I wonder how long this shit is. 2 hours. This is a 2 hour episode. I wonder if this is. I don't even know if this is 30 minutes or not. It might be over. It might be over. But yeah, that is life after Lockup, you guys. Be sure to like this video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button so you guys are aware when I drop anything else, and share this video. And until the next one, you guys, stay safe, take care of yourselves. Remember, wash your hands, wear your mask, and socially distance. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.